Welcome everybody to Coretalk, and finally we've got what we always wanted. You, not you, but everyone else. We've got who we wanted, so thank you. Now I actually get to see people cringing rather than just hear it. So we do need your help on this episode. Now, normally when a comedian does they go and do their gigs around the country, they choose somewhere that they're going to record their DVD from. So this is that for us. So we absolutely need you. You've got a huge part to play. I'm hoping you're off your nut on cheap coffee and free fry-ups from the hotel. Everyone, yeah? But if they can make John Bishop a famous comedian, then I'm hoping this will happen for me. I am your host, Ed Houser. Yes, somebody watched the guy who did rump insurance and thought, yeah, he's a good bet to give a live mic at a super serious Insurtech conference. Are you mental, Bradley? This could fall apart quicker than an Aon Willis merger. I would have called it a car crash, but you lot, you'd have all started to trying to charge me by the mileage on the joke. I can see it now, the website. Oh, we've insured 36,000 seconds of Insurtech conference speeches. Anyway. I got this drink from the bar earlier, this lemonade. Paid me £4 to take one, so profit on that. COR banter there for the numbers people in the room. Oh, it's a venture. No, it's not. Anyway, the looming threat to Insurtech, we've called this episode IPOs, it would appear. I accept the title is a little bit melodramatic, but I'm up against that German guy from TikTok on stage 2. He's a doctor. By comparison, I did the foundation insurance test just so that I could put the word fit after my name in brackets, just to let the ladies know. On episode 2, we're going to be revisiting episode 2 somewhat, sadly without Brian Falchuk. Can we have an R? Is it too early for that? Oh, that was quite loud. Can we have a bit louder? There we go. Now, don't feel too sorry for him. The reason we didn't end up having him was his outrageous demands. He wanted a chartered jet, his own tour bus, but where we really drew the line was, he wanted a ticket to this event. Did you see how much they were? I bet they're all staying in the Intercontinental this evening. Anyway, Brian did suggest that I make a joke about him being a vegan at this point, but I'm not that silly. Know your audience. We're at an Insurtech conference. Those Shoreditch WeWork fridges won't fill themselves with tofu and quinoa. The only thing there's probably more of at this event, reminders to download Brella. Anyone else? The lady at breakfast reminded me to download it. I ate at McDonald's. Anyway, in episode 2 of Coretalk, we asked, who is going to save Insurtech? And we'll be sticking with the superhero theme today because whilst not all superheroes wear capes, the vast majority of them do wear their pants over leggings. So, not that heroic, more Poundland car park. Speaking of Poundland, should we get some guests out? I've got 3 seats to fill, but I've been busier with acquisitions than Peter Blanc at Aston Martin on a slow Tuesday. So let's get them up at stage. Can we have some music? She joins us, wielding her lasso of truth, but sadly left her knee-high boots at home. It's the Wonder Woman of Insurtech. It's Charlotte Halkett. And we've got our own Catwoman for the event. Some say it's because she's hoarding them in her apartment. Others think it's the 9 lives she's had in her career. Personally, I reckon it's the latex bodysuit and whips. It's Lisa Wardlaw. Now to my co-host. He insisted on having his own theme tune for this. He thinks the Tony Awards are about him, and he can't even tap dance. When I'm questioning your ego, it's probably a canary down a mine, mate. Anyway, joining me on stage from EIS. Tony. He is the Roy Kent of Insurtech. He is the slayer of the Sea of Sameness. He's not the messiah of marketing. He's a very naughty boy. It is Tony Grosso. Look at him waving like he's the Queen of England. So, first things first, Tony, should we explain what Coretalk is? Because I'm looking at a lot of these faces, all these Insurtech folk, and anyone would think their VC had asked them about profitability.
Well, Ed, Coretalk is probably our biggest mistake, Coretalk Live, maybe. But seriously, Coretalk is a new way of delivering content. We tackle some of the biggest issues in insurance, and we do this on a monthly basis, but we're delivering the content that's both educational and entertaining. And it's a mashup, and we call that edutainment, because, people are tired of the talking heads and but we do a lot of things that are so serious in insurance. I mean, we're the backstop to the global economy, but we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. And so it's a fully digital, late talk show style format where we have the second best host, Mikey Mike, he turned me down, but we have Ed, who's the 17th highest rated Insurtech host in Moldova. And so what we do is we find the guests that are really subject matter experts on the topic, but they really have to have a personality. They have to have a sense of humor, and they have to be able to make fun of themselves. But as it more happens, they end up making fun of me and Ed. But it's fun nonetheless. We deliver it monthly. It's a fully digital studio, and we're filming from around the world, but you get lost in the episode, and you actually think you're watching a late night talk show. And so what we like to say is, come for the fun, but stay for the content. And we should have, we don't have it. We should have a QR code that you could have scanned to subscribe to the episode. There it is, up there in the corner. So at any point throughout, just scan that QR code. It'll take you to our YouTube channel. You can see all the prior episodes. You'll get notice when a new episode comes on. And then, if you don't like what you see, just unsubscribe or whatever. But that's Coretalk.
Well, thanks very much. Shall we get on with the action? Get into the questions. So, Charlotte, you're here to represent the Insurtech side of the conversation. Any cheers for Charlotte? Thank you very much. How healthy is the Insurtech market right now on a Batman scale of kind of George Clooney to Michael Keaton? Yes, that is the right order. Yes, I could take 40 minutes debating it. And yes, you will get bonus points for mentioning Val Kilmer's bat nipples.
So, Insurtech, I think the first thing is, look at this. Look at all the people here. And first of all, can I just round of applause for how amazing it is to see everybody actually in person rather than digitally? So I think it's really fascinating because when you asked me this question, I was thinking, I've been insurteching for more than a decade, and I think it's probably a harder time to answer that question than any other time, partly because we haven't been in person, partly because we haven't been meeting people in person, but also because of what's happened in the global economy over the last couple of years. So I think it's incredibly healthy when you look at some of the really big success stories out there. So we're way past that point of peak of hype cycle for Insurtech. There's some really big success stories out there. There are some companies that are at serious volume now. I mean, I'm from Bought by Many. We've got over 500,000 risks on the book. It's a substantial book. We're in 3 countries. There's no way you could call us a startup anymore. But at the same time, I think it's a really hard time for some of the smaller players because it's hard getting that conversation and that visibility. And if Insurtechs are the speedboats out there, then when the waters are really, really choppy, it's a hard time. It's a hard time to get the attention, and it's a hard time to stabilize yourself. You normally don't have that long runway. So I'm really excited at the same time that what those speedboats can do, because we need new ideas, and in a really uncertain world, this is what insurance does. This is our superpower. Insurance and Insurtech are good at navigating the uncertain times. Never been more uncertain. So great time. Who's that? Is that George Clooney?
No, I don't know. George Clooney's at the bottom end of the scale.
Adam West.
Keaton's at the top. Undeniably. And Lisa, from a carrier perspective, how do they look at Insurtechs at the moment? Are the Insurtechs seen as Avengers-style allies? If so, which one? Or are they the threat? Are they the Thanos in the story?
I think over the last decade, anyway, I'll kind of stick with the decade, and I love the fact that you made a verb out of insurteching, right? New.
What do I do otherwise?
I mean, we make the intangible tangible. So right now we've got a new verb. I love that. I was going to say that, over the last decade, we've seen this evolution of, yeah, okay, we need it. plug and play. It's adapt into what we're doing. I'd say like Lego bricks. And then it was also, I'd say, a lack of credentializing, like for the, like, yeah, that's not really relevant, or it's not going to be big enough, or, you know, I could buy it if it does get big enough, or I could plug it in a certain way. But I think if we kind of pull all that back, at the end of the day, what's facing all of us, carrier and Insurtech, like, I think it doesn't matter which side you sit on, which is why we need to be allies, right? We need to avoid ultimately not serving our customers. And I think at the end of the day, the just immense rapid adaptation and expectation of customers is outpacing, honestly, both sides. And so I think that we need allyship, but we need it to extend beyond something that is basic automation or, you know, kind of elevating from a 1 to a 5. We need to actually create new space in the market. I mean, you know, and I'll just pause on this, but in the world where digital and crypto and NFTs and all these things are coming to light, it's like we are the actual industry. I know we're not cool anymore, but we are the actual industry that made the intangible tangible. And so where are we playing right now in the digital economy, I would say, is a concern to carriers. And then, of course, I would say like an allyship for sure. And I guess might go, I might go Captain America, maybe. I don't know, maybe.
Captain America,
yeah,
controversial
go straight there.
Now, Tony, you're here to represent the view from Coretech. Firstly, I reckon you're making words up. What does that mean, and how does it relate to insurance?
Well, you know, Ed, I love mashups, so Coretech, right? So, you know, so what's going on in the industry, the way that we view it, is that there's this rift that's being created with insurance technology. And so let me explain that for a second. So what we have on the one side is the Insurtechs, right? The Insurtechs are really fantastic, oftentimes point solutions that are solving a real problem in the market that the traditional insurer wasn't able to solve. You know, they're built with the most modern technologies, the technologies for the future, with the right business architectures. They're customer-centered, not product-centered. They're open, able to participate in ecosystems, given that digital experience, right? But many of them are lack the scalability for a traditional insurer or from an incumbent insurer, and lack the breadth to support the enterprise of an incumbent insurer. So then we have that one side. Then we have on the other side, we have the modern legacy systems. So it's these systems that were built just 10 years ago, right? They are they're super scalable, supporting the enterprise. They support the breadth of products for a traditional enterprise insurer, except for the technologies are on technologies that will be deprecated in just 5 years. And it's the business model of the past. It's product-centric, not customer-centric. And in a world where the carrier kind of had everything in their silos, so open ecosystems really wasn't a thing when these systems were developed. So that's the rift that's developed. What Coretech comes in is core and technology, right? Insurtech and technology and core. It's the mashup. It is these systems that are built with the right technology of the future, the Netflix architectures of the future, built with the right business model, customer-centered, not product-centered. And the beauty is proven scalability and depth of product to support that enterprise, that traditional insurer. So what we like to say is Coretech, in our superhero theme, Coretech is going to be the great equalizer for the traditional insurer that's going to allow them to really step up and become the leaders and maintain those market-leading positions.
Now, my panelists will be taking some questions a bit later on, so please do scribble some down, because if nobody puts their hands up, I will just pick someone from the audience, and I absolutely want to do that. It'll be lots of fun. But Charlotte, what superpowers does an Insurtech need to have in order to work with an incumbent insurer these days? An Insurtech need to have, sorry.
That's a great question. So an Insurtech versus incumbents is a little bit like the Flash and the Hulk. There's incredible important depth on both sides. And actually, therefore, as representing the Flash side, which is, Insurtechs are there for speed and agility and the ability to go where the problem is really quickly. It really is about communication. So it really is about teamwork. So and recognizing actually there's a good reason why incumbents have been around for 100, 150 years. It's because of that incredible depth of understanding of weathering the market, weathering risks. And again, to say there's never been a more uncertain time in my career, I don't think, despite all the issues there have been over the last few decades. And it's really, I would say it's absolutely imperative for both sides to recognize the really great superhero position that the industry can take in helping the world navigate climate change, conflicts, global recessions. We understand what risks are on both sides. So with Insurtechs, you can understand, get really close to the customers, really look at new solutions, find ways that are free of the company politics, the company at a high level. When you're in a multi-billion-pound company, it's very hard to go MVP, to test something, to disrupt what is, a central goal for the whole company. And that's what Insurtechs do. But at the same time, an incumbent really has the data depth, has the expertise depth, understands regulation, can influence the whole market and the direction it goes into. And when those two come together, it's really, really powerful, but communication is the key. And what I've seen time and time again is that communication is actually really hard, so you have to be very deliberate about it. You have to really empathize with the other side. As an incumbent, understand that an Insurtech is likely to have a short runway, is likely to need to make decisions quickly, and they can bring that strength to you. But as the Insurtech realize that there are very good reasons that you need to really understand the regulatory environment, to really understand the data that's there, to really listen to the experts that have been in that market for a long time. So what's the superhero power there? Empathy? Actually, the world could do with more empathy. That should be a superpower, and that's what we need more of.
We'll go with that one. So insurers are like Hulk, just really, really angry all the time, smashing things up.
Last a long time.
So Lisa, a question to you in a reverse flash. What superpowers do insurers need to have to work with Insurtechs?
Yeah, definitely, I think insurers like to Hulk, for sure. Especially with those legacy systems. We can't knock this down. No, I mean, I think the biggest superpower that's needed is, I would probably think of one of Plastic Man or Elastigirl. I'll go gender neutral here. I think we need to be much more fluid and elastic in our ability to serve customers, to solve problems, and to bring technology ultimately to its literally like its rightful destination. So I think what happens so many times is, as carriers, we stop that fluidity. And maybe perhaps for all the right reasons, for all the legacy reasons, for all the scale and enterprise nature, and 3 months to get a POC approved by the board, and like all those things, right? But what we miss is that at the end of the day, none of us are going to change this industry. None of us are actually going to solve the problems if we don't get it to market to the customers. And so I think being elastic, in my mind, would be the biggest strength, which actually should be a complement to hopefully what the Insurtechs need in terms of pace, timing, decisions, supporting. But I think we at the carrier level need to literally kind of remove ourselves from those kind of chrysalids and those foundations that we form and be a lot more elastic. That's technology, that's ideation, that's partnerships, that's even the word ecosystem. Like, how do we build new integrations that aren't even traditional? So I'm going to stick with elastic.
Thank you. Tony, as a supplier of Coretech, how can Insurtechs and insurers ensure that technology is more like a bite from a spider, giving them powers, than it is their kryptonite kind of taking it away?
Yeah. Well, if we believe, and it starts with this premise, if we believe that the future of insurance is going to be different from the past of insurance, why would we think that the technologies built to support the insurance of the past is going to take us to the insurance of the future? Right? And with that statement comes the mind shift of the things that we did in the past are going to be different from the things that we've done in the future. Right? Because in the future, we want to treat the customer as the channel. right? Because customers are expensive to obtain and difficult to hold. So we want to treat them as the channel to offer them the products and the services that they want and need in their lives when they want them and when they need them, right? And so rather than a product-centric approach where it's like, I've got this product and I'm going to give it to you in this channel and you're going to come to me when you need it, right? This is the old way of doing it. And so to avoid accidentally buying kryptonite, you ask your technology partners one simple question, and it goes like this. If I had a customer that had an auto or a motor product, and that customer also had a life insurance product, do I have one customer record or two customer records? Well, first of all, the majority of the technology partners are going to say, that's a dumb idea. Why would you ever have an auto policy and a life policy in the same system? It doesn't happen. You have to buy an auto system and you have to buy a life system, right? But for those that can answer the question, they would say, most of them would say, well, you have two customer records, one for the auto policy and one for the life policy. Ah, there you go. It's a product-centric system. Right? And why is that important? Because if we're subscribed to the fact that but if we subscribe to the belief that the future of insurance is going to be different and we're going to treat customers as a channel to offer them products and services that they want and need in the times that they want and need them, you need to have a customer-centered system, not a product-centered system. You need to be able to offer them the products and services that they want. So you can become the insurer that you want to be, not the insurer that your legacy system allows you to be. And that's the superpower of the insurer of the future.
Thanks very much. So, Charlotte, when you look at your SWOT analysis, Brian previously on episode 2 mentioned Treacle Man, but how might you personify the biggest threat or the villain that you're most scared of as an Insurtech?
Ooh. I think fear of change. It's really interesting. That's what I hear a lot from the industry is a fear of change. And in particular, you hear it in things like fear of some companies from outside the insurance industry coming and moving into the space. So whether that's the retailers who have really amazing customer experiences, or whether that's from the banking industry or from other industries. And I think what I would put out there to the industry is there is nobody in a better position than the people in this room to serve the needs of the customers who are looking at taking away the fear of risks in their life. The people in this room understand those risks. The people in this room understand what it takes to navigate them. They understand what it takes to mitigate them, to change them, to help people actually live the life they want to live. But there is a lot of fear of change. Funny enough, there's, even looking at a question that's just appeared, it's all about kind of fear of change. Why is it that I suppose the role that I'm playing right now might change in the future, and that's a problem. Why should that be a problem? We should lean into it. We should be moving out. There should be other industries that are concerned that insurance is going to come and eat their lunch, not the other way around. Because the people in this industry have all the data and the strength and the reserves and the people. There's really amazing people at this conference today who are full of ideas to do that. It takes, it's a SWOT analysis you're talking about. And maybe sometimes we get a bit too tied up with that. So if you're a multi-billion-pound reinsurer, you're thinking, is it big enough to move the needle? Does it make a difference? And by the time you've got a business case that's big enough, then actually there's some risks to be worried about. Or equally, as an Insurtech, you might not be considering some of those enough in what you're doing. You might not be considering where it can get big enough. You might not be thinking big enough. That's one of the core values at Bought by Many is thinking big. And I suppose I would just encourage everybody here to do that, because there is nobody else. There isn't another world, another industry in the world that can do what we do better than we do. We just need to move with consumers, and we need to adapt with that. And then there's massive opportunity for this room.
What about for insurers, Lisa?
Yeah, so when I was agreeing with everything you were saying when you were saying it, and then I was thinking that, and I actually called it one of my favorite authors about a year and a half ago, and I'm like, he wrote a book that I really like. It's kind of the subject of it is basically like why fuzzies or liberal arts educated will rule this digital world. So I was thinking about it more from a non-industry perspective, but I was able to spend about an hour talking to him about the concept in this book. And what I was really fixated on was, and you know, I grew up like working for actuaries and being like, you know, I've been in this profession for 24 of my 26 working years, so there's no discredit meant to, I'm an accountant, so you know, I've got all the linear nature, but in my mind, it's how linear we are and how linear our actual business models are, meaning we do digest data, we do modeling, you know, like for breakfast, right? So one of the things that I think is kind of, you know, a potential like villain is this over-indexing on our linear nature, which as an industry has brought us to these great heights. We have, you know, to your point, like the world will be in trouble if we don't like find a way to solve this. So what I think is the, like, you know, like how do we put the kryptonite where it can't get us, right, is really starting to index on non-linear strategies, non-linear problem solving, like non-linear systems that enable this, you know, like how many times have we said, oh, we can't do that because like the codes and the systems don't support that. And I used to like, that used to make me just cringe when I was running digital strategy. But, you know, I think that we have to allow ourselves, like even the example of, you know, do we have a life policy or do we have like an auto policy? We should literally get out of those even discussions, not only in the do we have one customer record, but we have a customer who has pet, who has, you know, catastrophe riders on their telematics, on their Tesla, who has this and who has that. And I think if we start to think about it in these multi-dimensional levels, we start to free ourselves of these linear confines, which ties into our systems, which ties into our ecosystems, which ties into who we're partnering with. So I would say really the biggest thing we need to free ourselves of is we're kind of going, like I used to describe it as we're on the same hamster wheel or the same treadmill, and we think that if we just take the speed up a notch, we're winning, right? Which is great because we do need to run a faster pace, but we need to actually throw ourselves off that treadmill and actually run an uncharted terrain. So that's my answer to that.
I need to just get on a treadmill.
Yeah.
That would just be, even getting on it to start with. But
you know, there's one outside that I think we'll be doing live next.
Absolutely not.
But no cape.
After
No
the
cape
hotel
on the
breakfast,
treadmill.
no chance.
And do not put me next. I can't follow that. Come on.
Tony, we've made 5 episodes and I've never seen you follow anyone yet, so we're just going to carry on. Does Insurtech actually need saving, or is it actually incumbents that are really under threat?
What's that? I forgot the question.
Does Insurtech really need saving, or is it actually the incumbents that are under threat?
So to be clear, the Insurtechs are fine. Full stack Insurtechs, like bought by many, those are just fine. What we're talking about are the point solution Insurtechs that are attaching into the traditional carriers. Those are the ones that need saving, because here's what's happening. Right now, a lot of the insurers are doing some really nice POCs, some test and learns, all of that, right? So you have a great Insurtech solution you plugged into your new business process. You have a great Insurtech solution you plugged into your claim process. Maybe you're running a few thousand policies, maybe it's 10,000 policies, but you know the integrations are these really brittle, manual, hard-coded integrations, right? But it's fine. It's all fun and games for now. But let's say 5 years from now, it really picks up. You now want to plug in multiple Insurtechs along your customer journey. You want to plug into ecosystems. You want to be able to engage in ecosystems, take data out of ecosystems. Now we're talking about a massive amount of integration. So what was fun and easy when you were doing the POCs will eventually collapse under its own weight. And that's what needs savings, because it's a model that is going to fail if it is successful, which is a bit of a paradox. So what is the superpower that's needed in the future? Oh, Ed, you know what it is. It's those super sexy APIs.
Oh, he went there.
That's the superpower of the future.
Every single episode, Tony gets the word super sexy.
Or 2 words into every single episode, and every time I cringe. But thanks for being
Do you have
consistent.
the Christmas story lamp with the leg with API on it? We might have to get you that
I
for
like
Christmas.
that one.
Lisa, is that a fair summary, do you think?
You know, I do think that's a fair summary. I think that, as he very well articulated, we've got to get into, I mean, I would probably step it up one more. You know, I'm going to add a twist, right? It's not only the APIs, which I totally agree with you, they are sexy. I would say that API is table stakes now. If you're not API integrated and API enabled, I mean, honestly, 5 years ago, I was telling you not to talk to me as a carrier. I literally wouldn't talk to you. I was like, nope, you don't get on. Oh, but it's on our roadmap. I'm like, nope, you don't get to talk to me. But I think that, honestly, to play with the potential looming threats of, you know, retailers and who could get into this, and, you know, like, whatever, there's Tesla and there's GM getting into, you know, auto insurance, right? I think we have to get to, and I'm a big, like, real-time data streaming, no data at rest, abandon ETLs, get out of the MDM game. No offense to any of my vendors that focus on that. I get it. I've been fixated on this for probably like the last 3 to 5 years, and the tech is catching up. The tech is there, right? The big tech companies are already doing that. Data doesn't sit at rest. They're not having to get all their data structured. I mean, you know, in these like homogeneous buckets. So I'd say APIs plus basically, I'll call it like data virtualization. So like a universe of free-flowing, streamable data for the insurance marketplace.
Delicious. She's just raised the bar, Ed.
Well, you're going to need to jump higher again on this one then. Tony, how do people get started on saving themselves in this scenario?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of buying that's going on right now. We're at this inflection point, right, of what was safe and what's traditional and what are all of the others do. And I'm not quite there yet as an insurer. I just want to get to there. I want to get to parity. Or do you want to get to the future, right? So the thing that I think what we need to do, Ed, is put the whole buying process, put it in a rocket ship, blast it off to space, and just never see it again. And I'm sorry if procurement's in the room here, but this whole process of going through RFIs and RFPs, because if we come back to the premise that the future of insurance is going to be different from the past of insurance, why would we think that we could put together documents with 2,000 questions asking about every little feature, function, every bit of technology when we yet don't know what the future is going to hold? It is a recipe for the sea of sameness. All it does is get everybody to parity. And so the best buying process that I have ever seen, and I've been in about 30 to 40 buying processes from carriers, is this one carrier said, you know, we want a system that's going to be built for 2030. We're like, okay, that's going to be future-proof. And we've got 5 theories of what the future of insurance in 2030 is going to look like. And so what we want you to do is pick 3 of those theories and do a POC, build them on your system. And so that's what we did. And it was absolutely beautiful what happened after that. Because this carrier, all they've known for the past 20 years is the limitations of their legacy system, right? You can't do it because of this, can't do it because of that. So they had theories of the future. We did the POC. They're now able to experience, it's an experiential buying. They could actually see their vision of the future come to life. And even better part is now that they can start to see what the technology could do, now they started to learn and they started to come up with new ideas. And it was actually a co-creation process. And that's the buying process that we need for the systems of the future. And just get rid of it. We need to get rid of that RFI, RFP process because it's stifling. It stifles the creativity. It stifles the knowledge share that goes on during the buying process. And when you really have an experiential buying process, you learn and you co-create.
Thank you very much. So now we're going to move on to that fateful part where I'm looking for some people to pick on. But has anybody got any questions that they wanted to raise to the panel? Have we got a... Thank you very much.
Hi, it's Harvey Wade. Why do you think there's such a fear of change? Because you said there is, and I'm wondering why there's such a fear of change. Because then, Lisa, you said they've got to jump off the running machine and go, but if you've got fear of change, why on earth would you do that? So I'm just wondering, why do you think that exists?
I think it's cultural. I think that there are very good reasons why we have a very process-driven industry, because we're around weathering the 1 in 50 year, the 1 in 100 year, the 1 in 250 year risk. So there are good reasons why we really overthink as an insurance industry. What you get from the Insurtech industry is a very different culture. So if I just sort of open the doors a little bit on Bought by Many and the way we work, we do operate like a tech company. We operate with terms and sprints and squads and all this other tech jargon that means that fundamentally we run really quick and we test really quick, and sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And that's just embedded. It's just embedded that everybody turns up every day and says, what am I doing today? Why am I doing it? Why am I doing the same thing today that I did yesterday? I'm going to change that. And that actual cultural piece that you can get from working from an Insurtech can be incredibly powerful when it does work alongside incumbents as well. It's about, yes, the people who are in there, but it's also about creating places where it's safe to test, where your individual job and what your OKRs, your objectives, the way your actual salary as an individual is set up in such a way that it really encourages you to test. Go out, try some new things. Doesn't matter if that one doesn't work, this one will work instead. Or it doesn't matter if you pivot. You don't have to set your goals for the year and then keep them the same for the whole year. I mean, that just wouldn't happen within Bought by Many. So I think there is a cultural piece, and I think it's about enabling the brilliant people that you have within your organization to find safe spaces to innovate. It's also, it's genuinely hard as well. If you have a very large, profitable book, it is very hard to go and create a competitor for that over here, which in the early days might well have a worse loss ratio, might well have a worse expense ratio, might well take 2 years to get to product market fit. And in the meantime, you've got an underwriter over here who's screaming at you, why are you creating my own competitor? I get that. That is genuinely difficult. And that's one of the many reasons why it can work very well to work outside that framework. So I think, why is there a fear of change? I think that's human anyway, but it is how you set up your humans to succeed.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. But if anyone else has got any other questions, please go over to eisgroup.com/Coretalk, where you'll be able to ask more questions and see previous episodes. If you, apologies for the audio issues during this, that slow crackling sound was my career in a dumpster fire. If you enjoyed this episode, I have been Ed Housey of Hub. If you haven't enjoyed this episode, I repeat, I have been Ed Gaze of the Lloyd's Lab. I'd like to thank my panel for being such great sports and bringing their superpowers to this discussion. Thank you to Tony for being brave enough to let us do something so different with Coretalk, but mostly thanks to all of you for humouring us. You'll have seen the QR code in the top corner. Please do scan that to subscribe to future episodes. On episode 5, Tony is joined by Emma Roloff in a mass debate. EIS's PR team asked me to put that pause in there, on 3 key areas of digital transformation: people or tech, big bang or incremental change, and tried or tested or new and shiny. To find out who wins, please, and enjoy a cameo from the reassuringly expensive Brian Foucher, please do subscribe. Check out previous episodes at the website. It's been my absolute pleasure to present to you today, and we will see you on the next one.